All right, we're at the home of superstar Bill Dundee, legendary wrestler, booker, promoter, but mostly wrestler. And Bill, thank you for having us in your home today. And you and I have been friends for about 16 years now, and I noticed there are a lot of other wrestlers on YouTube with their own channels, and there's also podcasts. And they talk about different things that happen in their careers, and sometimes they take credit for things that happened that I think you might have innovated. And I was telling you about YouTube the other day, and I said, Bill, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think you've been quiet too long.
All right, well, you know how it is.
So this channel, we're starting for you, and we'll turn out a new video hopefully every week. This is the very first one. So we want you to give your side of the story. You don't get to. There's a lot of videos about you on YouTube, but you don't really get to give your side of how things were. So we're going to let you set things straight. Let's start at your arrival here in Memphis back in 1975. Jerry Lawler was leaving about the same time as you and George Barnes got here, right?
Yeah, but we never knew nothing about that. We knew Jerry Lawler was the big shot in Memphis, but we never, because Bobby Shane was good friends, and he was also good friends with Jerry Jarrett. So he was the booker in Australia for Jim Barnett, and he saw me and Barnes wrestling. He said, "You guys would get over good in Tennessee because they like smaller guys in Tennessee." I said, "Well, we've heard them words 172 times, but nobody ever does nothing about it." So he said, "Well, I'll do something about it." So he, that day, called Jerry Jarrett. Said, "Hey, I got two guys over here. I believe you would like them once you see them, and they're willing to buy their own ticket and come to Memphis."
So it was a coincidence that you arrived when Lawler was leaving.
Yeah, we never knew nothing about that.
Nothing was
part.
planned.
No, we were coming anyway.
Okay, you and George Barnes really got over great. I mean, you really got over with the fans. Everybody
Right.
just. But short time later, George Barnes went back to Australia. Right.
Yeah, he was kind of homesick, and he didn't like the Yanks. He says, "I don't like the bloody Yanks, man. I'm going home." I said, "No, you can't go home, man. We're a tag team."
But he did, and you
Yeah.
stayed, and
Right.
you continued to get over. You just were
Yeah.
doing great. The fans loved you.
But from day one, when we showed up at Nick Goulis's office, me and Barnes as a tag team, Jerry Jarrett's mama worked in the office.
Right.
And she told Jarrett and Nick Goulis, says, "That little black-haired one needs to be a babyface." I ain't gonna be a good guy. We're heels. So anyway, she said, "No, he needs to be a good guy." So she had that pegged from day one. So when the big George went home and Bill was on his lonesome, that's when it all. Then we got the
Really
words.
took off.
We got the immortal words. The king is returning.
That's the next question. It wasn't too long after that, not quite a year, but Jerry Lawler came back into the Memphis area.
Right.
Okay. As I said, you were really a big star by that time. Did you feel any animosity towards Lawler? Were you disappointed that he came back? I mean,
No. It was a business. I mean, you have to have opponents and all them other things. I mean, and you'd heard what some of the guys liked him, some didn't. And if they liked him, they put him over. And if they didn't, they would knock him. But the guy was a big star here, 73, 74, and we got here in 75. And him and Jarrett fell out about him going to the towns. And not, this is the story we got. He didn't want to go to the little towns, so Jarrett said, "Well, don't go to the big ones." And he left. So that's what we got told. So then they say he's coming back.
So he was kind of sent off to Coventry to cool off a little bit, and
Probably,
until he could
or whatever he was doing. It didn't bother me and Barnes because we got over. And if he'd still been here, would we have got over? Who knows?
So it was never entered your mind at that point. You'd really earned the top spot. You maybe felt like you nailed it down, and then here he comes back.
No, it never even. I don't know. We were. When we left Australia, we wasn't stars in Australia. We were wrestlers, and we were doing jobs for Mark Loon, Skull Murphy, Brute Bernard, and all the guys that Jim Barnett brought from America to Australia. So we got the wrestling homeward craft type thing, but we was no stars. Don't get that idea. Then Bobby Shane saw us, and he said, "You guys would get over good in Memphis." Jerry Jarrett's the booker. He's a friend of mine. I will call him. He did. They booked us. We bought a ticket, and here we are. So we never had no idea what was really coming in here to do or whatever. We just knew we was going to be bad guys. And George Barnes in real life didn't like Yanks, as he called them. He said, I like them bloody Yanks. He said, the food's all greasy and fried and dead. So he would ramble on like that. But we got over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yours and Lawler's matches together were legendary. You drew huge crowds. So did you see that potential at that time?
Kind of not really, because we didn't really know what. See, Jarrett was booking this, so you don't really know what's going on in his head.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when George left, and then Jarrett come to me and he said, I think we're going to do what Teeny kept saying. We're going to switch you babyface. I said, no, man, I don't want to do that. He said, oh, yeah, this is the thing. We'll give it a try. So the Dastardly interns and Ken Ramey were beating up Eddie Marlin one day on TV, and I saved him. So when I saved him, that made us a tag team. They were a tag team, so Eddie Marlin and me were the good guy tag team, and we fought the dreaded interns. And that's how it all started. And then being astute and everything that I am, the girls liked me, and that was it.
Absolutely.
So the female population went up in Memphis.
Now, you've said in your book and in a recent conversation with me that one of the reasons, well, there's probably a lot of different reasons why wrestling is not as popular as it used to be, is what you mentioned. There's not enough girls coming to the matches these days. And explain that to us.
Well, it's like, I mean, I was little and cute, and they weren't scared of me.
Right.
If you're 6'3" and 300 pounds, there's no little girl going to walk, and I don't mean little girl, but young woman going to walk up there and think, you know what I mean? They're scared of you, just the size of you. So they are kind of like Bill, because Bill was accessible, and hell, half of them were bigger than me. So, you know what I mean? And we're saying that in jest, kind of, but being little and cute was what helped me get over in Memphis.
And you said something to the effect of, if the girls are coming to the matches, then
the boys are coming to the matches. How do you think rock and roll concerts draw? There's a lot of women go to see rock and roll singers. So there's a lot of women go, a lot of guys go. They're trying to get a date for the night, so they know where to find one. And it was the same with Memphis Wrestling.
And from what I understand, predominantly now, it's mostly a male audience that goes to whatever wrestling, like the WWE.
Well, I don't know much about them. It's a different kettle of fish what we did, but, you know, and they're all big old boys up there, but I know I've been happy with my 30-year run here in Memphis, Tennessee, and getting back to the Lawler thing.
Absolutely.
He came back here, and it was like he left. And thank you, boys, for looking after my football team while I was gone. Now I'm back. I'm taking it back. I'm the quarterback. You ain't taking it back, brother. So that, you know what I mean. So that was just a natural match to put together, me against Lawler or whatever. So, and he was a bad guy when he left, and he was a bad guy when he came back, and I was this cute little devil trying to steal his territory in his mind. So they booked the match, and the first one did good, and we've been doing good for 40 years ever since.
And of course, the legendary hair versus hair matches.
Right, all the gimmick matches we had. And then my lovely wife Beverly's passed on now, but we put her hair up. I mean, nobody ever done that before. I mean, okay, I'll put my wife's hair up.
It was so innovative. Memphis Wrestling was so innovative, so different than any other wrestling promotion.
And here is the thing: I will give Jerry Jett all the credit. He gets heat with the boys, and he gets heat with me sometimes, and some of the things that he does we don't always condone. But for the wrestling business, he was as smart as anybody in it. He knew what people liked. He knew how to screw with your emotions, and he was good at that. Well, we'll get heat on this guy. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll have the good guy do this and the good guy do that, and people liked you and loved you and did all the things. So he was very smart at what he did, and he was the boss, and you know, nothing happened that he didn't know about.
Oh, I've been watching the show since I was about 4 years old, 5 years old, and it goes back to the early 70s.
Right.
Back then, you really, no offense, but you really bought into what you were seeing.
Right. Well, here is the thing, and I think I've said this to you before, and I'm going to say it to everybody out there, the whole world. The magician cannot show you how to do the trick, and it still be a magic trick. Well, today's crop has took the magic out of the thing. They're showing you how to do the trick.
Right.
We believed, we wanted you to believe, and we went there that it was real. And to us it was. So they do more silly stuff today, flip-flopping off the top rope, jumping onto one another.
Well, there's nothing left.
Right.
It almost seems to me, and I know you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but what I know now and didn't know then, it almost seems like in your profession there was a secret society type thing. I mean, you knew what was going on.
Kayfabe, yeah.
Kayfabe.
They don't use that word no more. Young kids don't know what it is. So,
but that's why it works so well.
Right. And we believed, and we wanted you to believe. So, but today, I don't know. The indie shows that you go to around here, they all grew up watching Bill Dundee. They know who I am, but they think I'm a goofy old man that did blah, 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 blah. But here's the other thing. I sold more in pictures than they ever drew. So, I mean, if you go take it in the thing, I mean, they work for $10, $15, $25. What the hell? How do you feed your family on that? So, and I'm not talking about Vince. I'm talking about the indie circuit,
sure,
where just people promote the outlaw show. That's what they call them. I guess call them that nowadays too. So it's a different era, different thing, and they talk to one another. They thank one another on Facebook. Hey, Jumping Jack Flash, this is Bobby Green. I thank you for last night. What the?
Which was unheard of.
Unheard of. Yeah. They would have fired your ass. I mean, they would have beat you up. You know, it's a different era today, and it's just showbiz to them and showbiz to the people. And here's the thing that pisses me off is they'll say, well, it's fake. No, sir, it is not fake. It may be predetermined. Mm-hmm. We may all know what's happening when we walk the ring, including the referee. That part can be predetermined, but them bumps and them elbows and all the things that do. And then today they're doing stupider stuff. They're jumping off the top rope onto the floor.
That's the question I'll be bringing up here in just a few minutes about extreme kind of hardcore wrestling and how you feel about it. But you're absolutely right. But as you said earlier, there's what's left when you peel away the mystique about it.
Right. We all know John Wayne didn't really shoot you. But to us, in your mind, when you went to see him do it, you believed he was.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole thing with the wrestling business back in the good old days. We believed, we wanted you to believe, and that's how people bought tickets, 10,000 of them every Monday night.
Actually, every Monday night was pretty much packed.
Yeah.
Coliseum, what did it hold? 11,000?
Something like that.
Yeah. It was an amazing run.
It was unbelievable.
It was. But it just proves the point that how talented you all were.
Right.
What you did.
The same thing, the same people showing up Saturday morning, making a TV show for an hour and a half, and then 10,000 people come to see us on Monday night. Then we went up to Louisville on Tuesday, Evansville, Indiana on a Wednesday, Lexington, Kentucky on a Thursday. Same tape, we followed the tape. And they were full too. So it wasn't just Memphis on a Monday night. We went 7 days a week, the good old days.
That must have been a grueling schedule.
Grueling.
Good schedule.
And here is the other thing. Yeah, we bitched about the schedule, but if we hadn't went to the bar after, we would have been in better shape.
You brought up something just a second ago. I've always been curious about. Now, how were you? I don't mean to get personal about your business, but how were you paid? I mean, percentage?
Yeah.
Or salary?
No, percentage. And some of you made deals for salaries or knew what they were getting. Depends who you was and what you were doing. But most of it, you got a percentage of the gate. So say that they gave you the whole card that night, may have got 32% of the gate. Promoter kept the rest to pay the TVs and all the other things you did. So you got 32%. Divided up with all the boys. So if there was 20 guys on the card, or 15 or 10 or whatever it was, and that's basically how it worked. But how did you really know what you was getting? Well, we gave you 32% like we're supposed to. But how much part did you get?
So it varied every time you...
Right, because if it was a $10,000 house or a $6,000 house, you still just got the 32% of the check that came in through the turnstile. Now that's what they told us, but nobody ever saw it.
So there are no guarantees at all?
Not really.
No. Now, the merchandise sales.
That was enough. That started after.
Was it lucrative? Was it just a little side money to pay
A
the
dollar a
gas?
picture. It was no, but it was more lucrative in the end because you had more stuff. But back in the good old days, you had a picture. This picture right here. You see this picture? When it was an 8x10, yeah, that's me. $1.
$1 for that.
Not this size, but the 8x10.
8 to 10, okay.
But this handsome devil on it with $1.
Well, back in the day, $1.
Yeah, and that was $1. Was $1. So if you sold 20 of them, you'd make $20. You could fill your car up for 15.
Or
So
beer.
yeah, so you had $5 to eat on. So you was head of the ball game. But no, it wasn't nothing like they are today. T-shirts and hats and all the things that they sell on a Vince McMahon show. I'm sure they have all kinds of merchandise. I've never been to a Vince show, so I don't know what it looked like.
The tie-ins today for, well, I suppose it's still going on, for professional wrestlers is immense. They get the video game,
Oh yeah,
all the
and worldwide.
endorsements and
Yeah.
dolls.
Oh yeah, they're all different to what we just drove up and down the road basically for people buying a ticket to come see you.
Life sometimes isn't fair, is it?
Well, you were just ahead of the ball game. I don't know. It's just like, and it happened in NASCAR. Look,
True,
look,
true.
The race car drivers today, they can make $25 million a year. In Earnhardt's day, Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s day, he got paid $1,500 a week.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? It's everything's relevant. It's just changed, and I wouldn't say Vince McMahon killed the wrestling business, but he went into the TV business and worldwide, so he wasn't worried about people buying a ticket every Monday night to come to Memphis.
Right. It was totally different.
Different way of doing things,
Yeah.
you know. So, and there's more millionaires in the wrestling business than there ever was. The promoters could make $1 million back in the good old days, and some too, but they kept it.
Now, before we move on to some other questions, I want to go back to the Memphis wrestling days and something that I've heard this story retold a few times, and by people who think they have it down right, you know, that they have the facts. I want to talk about the Randy Savage incident. Can you give us the exact?
I'm the only one, because I'm the only one that was there.
Okay, all right.
I guess it was legendary that the Puffers were trying to take over Lexington, Tennessee, in the Jarrett territory.
Right.
And Randy and his brother Lenny Poffo and his father Angelo Dundee, and Angelo kept Randy fired up. It wasn't hard to fire Randy up. He was goofy anyway. So they would say stuff on their TV about us and Jarrett. Say, just ignore them. Don't even let people know that they're around, which worked. We never talked to them on our TV, but they would plug us in there so people knows about Bill Dundee, Jerry Lawler, Handsome Jimmy, or whoever they were knocking on their TV. It's publicity. So it doesn't really matter. But we never said nothing about them. So one day I was at the gym, and I'm sure people have heard this story, but you're getting this from the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
This is what actually happened on that day. Me and Randy Savage rolled around like two idiots. But anyway, I went to the gym, and I really don't know who would have. I think Candy Devine was there, and she worked for them, so she could have called Randy, because there was no cell phones back in them days. There were you had to call from a phone somewhere. So anyway, I walk out of the gym over to my car, Cadillac parked in the parking lot. So I'm leaning against the car, and I see Pez Watley and Thunderbolt Patterson coming walking towards my car. Well, I'd known them. I didn't put nothing together. So I see the both of them. So I'm leaning back against my car with my arms folded on the trunk of the car, and the next thing I get, bam! I thought, what the fuck? I look up, and it's Randy. I says, Randy Savage, you son of a bitch. So I kind of attack him or whatever we were doing. We rolled around like two old women. It wasn't much of a fight after the first punch. We just rolled around, and then they separated. Now, it's real easy when there's three of them technically.
Mm-hmm.
They're holding me, not Randy. Oh, come on, boys, don't fight. So they're pulling Bill back, but they're not really pulling Randy back. So he's punching me in the back or whatever. But anyway, we get separated. So I get back to the back of my Cadillac. So there was no clicker that opened the trunk, you had to put the key in the trunk, and you had to turn it and open. So I'm thinking, if I can get back to the back of this car, I will restore order. So Randy's at the front of the Cadillac, and Pistol Paz and Thunderbolt Paz, and they're just 10 feet away from the car. It's just me at the Cadillac. So I'm thinking, I get to the back of this car, we'll restore order. So anyway, I get the trunk open, and the holster's laying. It's in my briefcase. I thought, oh, fuck, I hope this briefcase ain't locked. So anyway, I click it, it opens. There it is. So I get it out. It's in the holster. Randy kind of jumps on my back and going to pull me back.
He's still not done.
No, he knows there's a gun in there because he says it. He says, "You have a gun." I said, "You're damn right I do." And if I can get it out. So anyway, he jumps on my back. His father walks up, Angelo. They had parked the van up on the hill, so Angelo shows up. So by the time I get the gun out of the holster, Randy's pulling me back. And so I get undone, and I throw the holster in the thing, and the gun's like this, pointing at Angelo. "Get your son off my back." So Randy said, "Oh, you got a gun," and he takes off running. He was the most paranoid man I'd ever seen in my life. So he just takes off running. And Angelo's standing there, and Pistol Paz and Thunderbolt, they don't want nothing to do with this. They just kind of leave. So it's me and goofy fucking Angelo. So I'm thinking to myself, do I shoot this goofy bastard, or what do I do here? So, fuck it. Put the thing away, put it in, and I was going to forget all about it. Nothing. So I drive home.
You weren't going to do anything about it?
Not darn nothing. I thought, this is, well, I might have shot him down the road somewhere else, but I mean, I wasn't going to do.
You weren't going to bring the authority, the cops in.
Right. I get home, and I'm not home 20 minutes. There's a knock on the door, and it's a cop with a warrant for my arrest, with assault with a deadly weapon. So I thought, oh my God. So the Papas had went and had swore a warrant out for me. And George Weingroff's dad, Sol Weingroff, and Angelo were big buddies back in the day. And he's working at the jail. So they know somebody down there. So anyway, they get a warrant for my arrest. And I thought, this ain't right.
Is this another way for them to pull publicity out of this?
I guess, I don't really know. But no, they were just being dicks about it, and they're wanting me arrested for waving this gun around.
Do you think they were trying to get to you before you could get to them?
I'm sure they thought I was good, but I wasn't going to do nothing about it. So I called Jarrett and I said, "Hey man, the Paphos has swore," when I tell him the story. He said, "Well, we go swear a warrant out for them." So we do. So then we go to court.
So it did go to court?
Oh yeah, it gets to court. So Cornette tells the story. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about, because nobody was there but me.
Right.
And you hear bits and pieces. So I heard Jimmy Cornette on one of his things. That never happened, what Cornette said. So they do the two. I finally go up to Jarrett's house and say, "Man, what we're going to do?" He said, "Well, we're going to go to court. We'll get your lawyer. Do you have a lawyer?" I said, "Well, okay." So we go to court. We're in the court, and Sol Weingroff walks up to me and he says, "Bill, we got to go Broadway in this, and that means a draw in wrestling terms." I said, "Broadway?
No winner."
No winner. That's what he was saying. We got to go Broadway in this. No winner. I said, "We ain't going fucking Broadway in this. I'm winning." Because he assaulted me.
Right.
And I was defending myself. He said, "You talked to Jarrett?" I said, "Yeah, I talked to Jarrett, and that's my lawyer that Jarrett's paying for." He said, "Well, can we talk to him again?" So I called him back up again. So I called him back up. I said, "Hey, man," I said, "Sol Weingroff's here, man. And they want to go Broadway with this thing."
And
so Jarrett says, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "I ain't the boss. What do you think? This is your territory. You do that." He said, just like Jimmy Cornette said, they didn't want it to hit the paper. Well, that was the only thing he said. It was true. But anyway, he said, "This will get into the papers and it'll hurt wrestling," which probably would.
Why would that have hurt wrestling? I mean, that you were physically assaulted by
Right. But how many times have we physically assaulted people on TV and told them it was true? See what I'm saying? Is it a wrestling angle? Is it what? Do they know the difference?
Mm-hmm.
So he says, "What you're the boss. Tell me what to do." He said, "Go Broadway. Let me talk to the lawyer." So the lawyer gets on the phone. Jerry thought, blah blah blah. So we go back into court. Judge Bill Dundee and Randy Poffel approach the bench. Here we go. So we both go up to the bench. Randy Poffel, you want to drop the charges on Bill Dundee? Yes, Your Honor. Bill Dundee, you want to drop the charges on Randy Savage? Randy Poffel? Yes, Your Honor. He said, okay. The bam hits the thing. It's over. Dismissed. So it's done.
Were you disappointed? I mean,
well,
did you really want to go in and...
No, not really, but I mean, they were going to do it to me. I didn't know how far they were going.
So you weren't out for vengeance? You didn't
want and still ain't. At any time was I ever mad at Randy. I mean, I'll tell you another goofy story on this Macho Man thing on the back of the tights. Cornette brought that story up, but they don't quite know what the fuck they're talking about. So anyway, we never really shook hands, but it was like, okay, and we leave.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back, I go up to Jarrett, and he said, well, how did it go? I said, well, they threw it out. That's good. I said, well, okay. So we just going up and down the road. I'll be a son of a bitch. It ain't 3 months later, and Lawler books him to come into wrestling.
So it was Lawler that did that?
Well, yeah. He's the one that wrestled him. So I go off to Georgia or some fucking where for Ole Anderson or somebody. So Papa was in here working against Lawler. Then they drew money. I don't know how much they drew, but it did help. I don't know if they capitalized on the deal with Randy and me, or I don't know what they did, because I wasn't here. And one of the reasons, because I didn't want to be around him. So,
do you think that would have been a good angle, a money draw for you and him to have matches?
No, I would never have trusted him, and he wouldn't have trusted me as far as being in the series. I really don't know. It might have drawn. Who knows? It drew with Lawler and him.
Yeah.
And Lawler wasn't in the fight. So that was the Randy Poffel thing, but him taking the gun off me and pistol whipping me with it and all the shit that they said, that was his brother Lenny that put that out.
So your jaw wasn't broken?
Fuck no, my jaw wasn't broken.
No
I was
surgery.
on the TV next Saturday. You'd hit me up on the eye, you had a ring on or something on this. See that scar? There's a scar up there, and that's where they sewed that up. So it just busted hard way me up there. Jaw wasn't broken. I made an interview on that TV that Saturday morning and told him 5 big guys jumped me in the parking lot. We made it kind of funnier, bigger than life.
I remember that.
The interview. Well, that was Jerry. He said, go out there and tell him 10 guys jumped on you, whatever, just say something. We have to say something. But nobody come out of the gym. There wasn't a soul there except the Poffos and me. I don't know if anybody ever saw it. So I could have shot him.
Today somebody would have had their phone out taking pictures of it. I would have loved to seen it.
Yeah, but them days there was no nothing them days. So it was Randy's word against mine. But I can assure you this. He never got the gun out of my hand. He run away. He said he's got a gun, and I looked and he's running up a fucking hill to his van. and leave his father standing right there with a gun cocked.
I've heard another variation where Angelo Poffo got the gun from you.
No.
That never happened.
That never happened either. They never got close enough. And don't believe me, I would have pulled the trigger. There was 4 of them and 1 of me.
Well, I think a lot of people would have.
Right. And they knew it. So you're standing there with a gun cocked, waving it around. Angelo never moved. He just stood there. Pistol Pez and Thunderbolt Patterson wasn't in it, so they just wandered away casually. And Randy run up to the top of the fucking hill to where his van was parked with all the boys in it. And I thought, where's that goofy bastard going? So I just got in my car and went home. And to me, it was over. 20 minutes home and knocking the door, and here they come with the papers.
You have a lot of patience. I think most people would have wanted to lash back at him and get a little revenge.
Well, I mean, what technically are you going to do?
True. I'm going to move on to some other subjects. Back in the
So that's the story of the Popo thing, or the Randy Savage
that's
deal.
the complete,
Right. Yeah.
detailed fact.
That's the facts, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. So that's what happened.
It's on record now.
Yeah, it's on record. So I mean, the Jimmy Cornettes and everybody else that heard somebody talk about this story, that's the real story from me. I was there.
They can watch this, and then they can talk about it. Okay, all right. I'm curious about some things. Being a fan of Memphis wrestling for so many years, I watched so many things develop. Now, one tag team that was developed here among Benny, but I always wondered about this. Now, the fabulous ones,
Right.
Stan and Steve,
Right.
when they hit the Memphis scene, the Memphis wrestling scene, it was huge. I mean, they had the videos and they were going at Moondogs and
Nobody was doing videos at the time that happened with them. Now here's the true story on that. Jarrett had the gold coach made, the thing with the top hats like Fargo had back in the 50s. Fargo was managing.
Right.
Remember, Fargo did the talking for him? Because they weren't fucking Handsome Jimmy's talking. But, so anyway, that was the deal. We put them together to beat Fargo up and switch them heel.
Really?
Really.
Oh.
So, that was why they were put together. So then we're going to the towns, and Jarrett, I mean, I was half-ass helping Jarrett book the thing, so I was doing all the stuff in the dressing room. I said, Jerry, the fucking guys are over like unbelievably over as baby faces. If we switch them and it don't click, we'll kill them deader than Kelsey's nuts. So he says, well, let's not switch them. So we leave him babyface. So we put them together to get a heel team out of them, and then we were scared to do it. True story.
Did not know.
Nobody knew.
But they were huge,
Huge.
as you said. Then when they left Memphis,
Went to Minneapolis, I think.
but they never achieved that level of success again, like the Rock and Roll Express did. When the Rock and Roll left Memphis, they just kept going.
They were better workers. And they didn't have Jackie Fargo. They got over because of Fargo. The fabulous ones, you know, the fabulous Jackie Fargo.
Right.
We did it, and that's why we used Fargo. And he endorsed them when he came in. Hey, they're Pelly, there's like me and my brother Don. Yeah, remember that interview?
Yeah.
This is Stan and Steve. They're now the fabulous ones. Yeah, da. They got stroked by Fargo. When they went up the Vern Gagne's territory, Fargo didn't mean nothing up there, and neither did they. So there was
the gimmick just couldn't carry on.
This never carried on. They didn't understand the fabulous one, whatever the hell it was they were doing up there. So I don't know. I only went up to Vern's territory once or twice, me and Lawler on a couple of cards. But so I don't really know what they did. But that's how they got over here, because Jackie Fargo got him over. He made the interviews. You remember? You watched them.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Pally, this is Stan. This is me and Donnie when we was young. Da. Yeah, right.
It can't. If I remember correctly, Jimmy Hart had taken Rex McGraw. Was it Rex McGraw?
Rick McGraw.
Rick McGraw and another guy.
And made him the dolls, the New York dolls.
New York dolls.
Yeah.
And then Fargo came out and said, it was just a rip-off of the fabulous ones. And
Right.
Formed this team.
So that was the start of that program.
Right.
Not a Jerry Jarrett deal. But that's another story. Brilliant.
Now, was it 83? I think it was 83 that you had the classic Loser Leave Town match with Lawler.
Yeah, I was going off to Ole Anderson down there in Atlanta.
And you took a few people with you.
Right. Ricky and Robert, did they go?
Rock and Roll Express. I was angry at you because it seemed like a huge portion of our talent was just gone overnight.
Probably was.
Because we missed seeing you, missed seeing the Rock and Roll, and
all the pretty good guys was gone.
Yeah. But of course, all of whom went on to greater success.
Right.
But what made you decide to leave Memphis? I mean, was it a better opportunity? Were you tired of doing this?
I really don't know. Ole Anderson, Georgia was dead on its ass.
Mm-hmm.
So he come up. It's the same thing. We're getting ahead. that Bill Watson, Louisiana. But anyway, he first came up and he talked to Jerry Jarrett. So he said, "You take Bill Dundee was the booker. He'll help you do this, blah blah. And he knows this guy, and he can get more talent." He was having bad houses because he didn't have no real talent. So we went down there, tried to help him get it going. We was making a TV in Chattanooga. It wasn't exactly Atlanta TV. It was fucking Chattanooga TV, and we showed it in Atlanta. But anyway, it clicked a little bit, but not really. I think that was when we had Jimmy Cornette the first time around. We took him down there. So that was his first on the road type thing.
Now, he didn't have the Midnight Express.
No, he didn't really have anybody, but we took him down there as a manager, so he got a little exposure and all that. So it never really clicked. So I came back to Memphis, and some of the guys when we came back to Memphis. And I don't really know who was booking. I think Lawler may have took the book back or doing whatever the hell he was doing. But anyway, I came back, and that was, what, 83?
The first Loser Leave Town matches were in 83, and you came back in, was it 85?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Buddy Landell.
Yeah, me and Budrow.
Yeah.
So we'd do the thing. But was I gone 2 years then?
A year and a half, 2 years, yeah.
Damn, I didn't think it was going that long. But anyway, it's
whatever
it was. Yeah.
We'll have to Google
so I just don't really know. Yeah, Google it. Yeah, Google it. We got you. Yeah. So anyway, that never worked out with Ollie, and he didn't like showbiz. Ollie was way back when, hey, this is real. You know, that's how he thought. Little cute guys couldn't get over.
Right.
Till they did. So, you know what I mean? So he was like that too. So then I came back here. Then Bill Watts came up and same story to Jerry Jarrett. Hey man, my territory's dead on its ass. We need this, we need blah, blah, blah. He said, talk to that little fella sitting over there. You see if he'd help you come on down and be in the office, and he knows this guy and this. Same thing. So we all leave. Ricky and Robert, me, the Midnight Express, Cornette. This is when we're going to do the thing with Cornette, give him the tennis racket. So there's a bunch of us leave. Jarrett's territory kind of went down, so he kind of got mad at me, said I stole his talent. How could I steal his fucking talent? I never stole nothing. He gave it to me. Blessings, go off to Louisiana.
Now, are you implying that you gave the Jimmy Cornette the tennis racket? I mean, how did that come about? I
don't really know. He may have had it, but they gave him something. Bill Watts, I think, someone came up with something. We need to give him a big stick. You know, because Jimmy he wouldn't fight you. He wouldn't do nothing to you. You know, but we gave him the tennis racket as much for his protection, you know, whatever, and use it for hitting the boys with. So I can't really remember who came up with that, but that's when it started.
And Cornette actually started in Memphis.
Right.
Was it a photographer, correct?
Right. He took pictures and sold them to the boys.
Right.
And that's how he started. And he was an obnoxious son of a bitch then, and he's an obnoxious son of a bitch now.
Okay.
And well, it's true. Before cable TV, Jimmy Cornette will tell you he had a TV antenna on his house, and he said he could turn it around before people were doing it, so he could get about 4 wrestling shows out of different areas around Louisville. So he was a big wrestling fan way back then. And that's how he would watch Knoxville TV and Chattanooga or whatever he could pick up off that antenna he said that he had. And he was a hell of a wrestling fan. And he got into the wrestling business because...
He's very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I actually agree with a lot of things he says about it and what's happened to it and how it's evolved or devolved. As a matter of fact, Jim Cornette has stated many times, and I agree with him, that wrestling is dead.
Dead and counts his doodads. Yeah, it's dead.
It is dead.
We killed it. And the reason it's dead, because it's not real. The boys don't think it's real no more. They want the... You ever been in a real fight in a bar and the guy jumps up on the bar and he hangs off the fucking chandelier and he drops on somebody? That don't happen.
No.
A fight is 2 guys rolling around and punching the shit out of one another. That's a real fight.
Right.
And them kids that run around, jump on the top rope, they jump into the audience 3 rows over, and the fuck is that? Nothing to do with wrestling. Wrestling, you go behind, take him down, do whatever. It's wrestling on a mat.
Right.
And today, the more you can jump up in the air and do things, it sucks. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at the indie shows. They have no clue what they're doing.
Well, that brings me to the next question. Are you a fan of, or are you familiar with what they're calling extreme hardcore wrestling?
Not really. I know what they're calling hardcore wrestling, but am I a fan of it? No. What we did wasn't any kind of wrestling except wrestling. It was Saturday morning wrestling. That's what we did. The Tupelo concession stand fight. That just happened. That was nothing extreme about it. We got over in the concession stand. Lawler threw a jar of pickles at his cousin, pissed his cousin off, and here we are. So now there's popcorn and all kinds of shit being flung all over the concession stand. It's slick. We're falling down. It's wet.
I've seen it many times.
Well, you've seen it. You know how it goes. And then Eddie Marlin got mad at everybody. Come on, get your ass out of there. And you'll buy all this shit. We're going to charge you for the candy. But anyway, they didn't. But so we leave, and that was the end of that.
You know, today, what they're doing is they're jumping off of ladders onto burning tables and staple gunning each other with staples and glass.
I don't know. I've never seen none of that. I wouldn't even watch it.
Well, I've never seen it myself. I'd asked you this question earlier, Woken. Now, you were involved in some matches where there were, of course, the Tupelo concession stand brawl, but you were involved in barbed wire matches and scaffold matches and bullwhip matches. What do you think the difference is?
Well, it was a one-match, one-time type thing. Right. The bullwhip match was Dutch Mantell had won, and he bullwhipped me with it. Mm-hmm. I said, well, Mantell, you son of a bitch, I got one too, so let's just take the ropes down and we'll have us a bullwhip match. We both have one. And it drew like a son of a gun. So it drew, but it's real. You know what I mean? He had a whip, I had a whip. Mm-hmm. So the scaffold match, Jerry Jarrett told me that him and Don Green had the first scaffold match.
True?
And, yeah, there's a tape of it. So they did the first one way back when. So that was like Coco Ware, you sucker, you're driving me nuts, or whatever way we did it. Said, we're going to get rid of you once and for all. We're going to go see if we can get a scaffold match. 20 feet in there, and I'm going to throw you off. And then you'll be out of my hair. That was the premise of the match. Mm-hmm. So there's a reason for having it. Coco agrees to it, and we have the match. So that's how it came about. We just didn't put a scaffold up there and two of us climb up there with no rhyme or reason. Well, I was trying to get Coco out of my life.
Those kind of matches for you guys were not all the time, every day.
No, it was a blow-off gimmick.
You never sat and said, look, what's a good way to just gross people out or scare the hell out of them? Let's go do that.
Right.
This was a classier way to do it.
Yeah, but it was just me and Coco. So we're telling them one of them is going to get hurt, and people will come to see people get hurt.
Question I've wondered about. Vince McMahon. What you had told me, I think, at one time that you actually had a meeting with McMahon.
Yeah.
So what
didn't go well. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you today.
Well, you're at the bottom. Well, you are at the bottom of the.
Yeah, right. We're done. No, fuck it. It was. There's a lot of variables.
Did he make you an offer, or did he want to talk to you about something in particular, or is it?
I've no idea. But I went up to his house, had lunch with him and his family in his big ass house up there in Connecticut. And he says to me, "Is there anybody in my company that you don't get along with?" Well, Goofy Randy Savage had showed up there. So I said, well, and I answered the questions all wrong. Maybe I didn't want to go, and I really didn't. But he says, is there anybody? I said, well, I don't think the Undertaker cares for me. That's another longer story than I'm going to elaborate today. We may do that down the road, let people think about it. But the Randy one was, he said, I said, yeah, the Undertaker don't care for me and I don't care for him and Randy Savage. He said, well, what happened to you and Randy? I said, nothing, I was just going to shoot his fucking father, and Randy run away. I said, so nothing happened to me and Randy.
He
I
was.
said, he sucker punched me. And
I don't know if that was the best way to answer.
No, that was what I'm saying. I was driving back on the plane, and I'm thinking, I think I blew that. I don't think Vince wanted to know why me and Randy wasn't doing nothing.
See, you forgot the kayfabe.
Yeah, I forgot the kayfabe thing myself.
Everything was fine.
So that was the deal. So, but it was true, and I'm sure Randy has told people his version, and I didn't want his version out because it wasn't the true version.
Let me ask you this: do you think if you had answered those questions right, said, "Oh, no problem, I love everybody here," what do you think would have happened to it?
Might have been offered a job. I don't really know.
As a booker, or
no earthly idea. Here's the thing, and I'm not saying that Vince ain't a smart guy or intelligent guy or all the things that he fucking does. We were in his office and telephones are ringing all over the place. And if you're talking to me about my life, I want you looking dead at me, telling me what you can do for me, not answering the fucking phone to some t-shirt guy in Nairobi. And I mean, and he's an intelligent man, and he's talking, oh, well, we'll get $50,000 to you. Oh, there, get him on a plane. Yeah, click. So, Dundee, where was we? Fuck that. Yeah, I'm not going for that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, this son of a bitch, he's no more interested in me than flying to the moon. So when he asked the thing, I thought, well, this is the story he's getting, the true one. I gave him the gun part.
Maybe you're better off, Bill.
No, I mean, I'm here. Do I look like I'm starving?
No, not at all. You're doing
and
great.
I don't have to kiss his ass.
I want
to just kiss Jerry Jarrett's ass.
There's one man that I want to get to that we have talked about recently. I want to ask you about the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Nature Boy.
Ric Flair. What?
I'm not a fan of his.
I know. I gathered.
You've gathered that? Yeah. Okay.
What do you think kept him on top for so many years? I mean, what was his appeal, in your opinion? Because he basically wrestled the same match over and over.
Oh, the same thing. You see in one of his matches, seen them all upside down into the turnbuckle, run along the apron, jump off the leather, kick you, hit you, do a land on you. Same fucking match every night. I don't know what he was the world's champion.
Mm-hmm.
He owed everybody money.
Mm-hmm. Really?
So they had to keep him working so they'd at least get a little bit of it back. The Crockett's billed him out umpteen times. So I really don't know. I don't care for the man. I don't think he cares for me, but I don't give a fuck that he don't care for me. I ain't broke.
So you weren't impressed with his
nothing,
as a worker?
None of that shit. I wasn't impressed with a worker. He's fair. He wasn't great. He was fair. Was he Jerry Lawler status? No. Him and Rick Steamboat did good matches in the Carolinas, maybe for a year. Me and Jerry Lawler did him for 30 years in Memphis, damn near every Monday night. You lived in Memphis, you saw him.
Absolutely, I sure did. I think it was Ole Anderson that said in one of his interviews on YouTube that they basically put the belt on Flair just to get rid of him.
Right.
They didn't want him. They'd rather him be flying around to different territories doing the same match all the time.
Right. At least it would look different to the people. Right. Yeah. And that's true.
So he was actually rewarded for mediocrity.
Right. And they didn't want him drinking every night in the same fucking place. Well, hell, he damn near died, didn't he? Didn't have to take him to the hospital?
Oh, yes, it did.
So, I mean,
did you see the ESPN?
The 30-30?
30 for 30, yeah. What did you think about that?
Well, it was all right. They didn't crucify him too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he told some of the truths. But it's just like, they say that he can't tell the difference between his real name and the Ric Flair. It's basically the same name, but it's just said different.
Mm-hmm.
Flea hair or something on Ric Flair. Well, I don't fucking know what it is, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So they say he gets them mixed up. He doesn't know the difference. I don't really know. I had never been around him in 10 years and don't want to be around him for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And do I think he's a great worker? No. Jerry Lawler's a great worker.
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair is a fair worker, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He had the belt because the Crockett's liked him. And like Ole said, they wanted him out of the fucking territory.
Right.
Hey, you're the champion. Go away. Go somewhere every night. Don't come here. Right? That's
Right.
what it looked like.
What about some of the claims that he made about 10,000 women?
Yeah, bullshit. Do the math. You can't fucking live long enough to do 10,000 women.
I don't think there's
And then he
porn
did
stars
one-
that have that many.
No, right. John Holmes didn't have that many. And then he did one on Halle Berry. Remember that one? Somebody asked him, "Did you bet the Hollywood click?" He said, "How Halle Berry sound?" Halle Berry. And then she said, "I've never heard of that man." I saw that fucking interview too. So, I mean, bullshit's bullshit and true's true.
So he's a legend in his own mind.
A legend in his own mind. That is a good fucking way to describe him. Yeah. How tough is he? I don't know. I've never really seen him wrestle. And the real... If we were going on tough, Billy Robertson would have been the world's champion forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, and we know it's showbiz and all them other things. So I don't know what Flair's problem is.
He's had a lot of difficulties in the last years, financial, health-wise. From what I'm saying.
You can't drink the shit. Now, I got to say this for the man, because I've seen it with my own little Bo Peeps. He can stand at the bar and drink all fucking night.
Amazing.
Get up in the morning, get on an airplane, go to another town, wrestle an hour Broadway, go to the bar in that town that night, drink the same shit again, and then do the same thing all over again.
Where does it take its toll?
What? It took Stone in the hand. He damn near died.
Took a while, though.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, you know.
Says something about his stamina, anyway.
Well, it's intestinal fortitude or whatever you want to call it. But okay, so it took a while to fuck his body up, but his brain was already gone. He wouldn't have been doing that. You know what I mean? And I don't know if he ever did any drugs. I don't think he did. I think alcohol was his worst thing in women.
Mm-hmm.
And they will both kill you. And probably the women quickest because they think the bottle of booze just sits there and you pick it up and drink it. The woman's thinking, how can I get more money out of this son of a bitch? But anyway, and if that made him happy, then God bless him.
You said something earlier. I'm going to touch on this very quickly. Just to ask you your opinion. You didn't know how tough he was. Who, in your opinion, which one of the which wrestlers were legitimately street tough that could go into a
Wrestling
bar and just clean it out?
Right. Well, there was a couple of. Ole Anderson was a tough guy.
I've heard
Billy Robertson was a wrestling tough guy.
Mhm.
Tony Charles, another wrestler.
Mhm.
So
who would you just not want to fuck with? I mean, outside,
either one of
inside.
them, Tony Charles, Billy Robertson. You know, most of us got into this because it was show business.
Mhm.
We only talked like it wasn't show business, but it was
Mhm.
back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and it was all showbiz. But we kayfabed it and covered it up different. So, how many real tough guys is there? Like Tony Charles, Billy Robertson, Ole Anderson, I said, was a tough guy, just big, tough son of a bitch. Gene Anderson was tough. So, on the new level, I don't know.
You don't, as you hit on earlier, you don't keep up with the wrestling at all anymore. But,
No.
Okay.
No.
So the next,
Take a look around this wall. Do you see any new guys up there?
well, I only see the one. I see a lot of Bill Dundee, but that's okay.
Well,
I
this
like it,
Bill
I like
Dundee's office.
It's
There's
your-
Rocky
this is
Johnson
your-
up there.
Your
Right?
man cave.
Yeah, the man cave. There's Jean Louis and Joe LeDuc.
All right, Bill. Last question for this video. And by the way, why don't you promote your book? Tell everybody the book. A fascinating book, by the way. I've read it.
Fascinating book. If you don't want the answer, don't ask the question.
And we can.
You know why I came up with that title?
It's very true.
It's very true. In life and in the wrestling business, all the young kids will watch my match. What do you think of it? Now I say, I used to get into it, but now I'm more diplomatic. I never saw it, brother. So you don't have to go into the. And I learned that off Jerry Lawler. It took me a long time to, because they'll ask the, you see my match game? No, I didn't see it. Superstar, you see my match? Yeah, I did, and this is what the fuck was wrong with it? That was not the answer. So I let that off the case. Bill,
sounds golden.
Right. Do not tell him what you're thinking. Well, okay. And they don't want to hear the real truth. They want to tell you how great it was. Oh no, I saw it. Yeah, you were great. That's what they want to hear. So if you can't say that, just well, I never saw it. No, I do that.
But I strongly suggest that you give Bill's book a read.
I do too. If you don't want the answer,
don't ask the question.
Don't ask the question.
We're going to give you some information on how you can get a copy of that. And the last question I want to ask you, Bill, and I'm very curious about this. If you could go back and change one thing in your career, maybe it was a regret or a mistake, just one thing, what would it be?
What would I do different?
Yeah.
I would have went to Hollywood.
Okay. They got wrestling out there?
Well, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, right, yeah, they do have wrestling out there. But I
You're
think
talking about as an actor.
as trying to be a movie actor or a movie, that, you know what I mean? Most of the wrestlers that got a chance did it, made it. John Cena made movies. The Rock made movies. So you have that natural thing, and I was cute. Take a look around the wall.
I believe you could have done it.
That's what they were looking for back then, that pretty face up there. That's how I got over here. It certainly wasn't big in muscles. I was 5'7", 200 pounds. The cutest 5'7".
Actually, that's not unusual. I mean, Tom Cruise is 5'7". So.
Right. And that, you know.
Bruno Mars is 5'4".
Oh, that's my man there. I love Bruno Mars.
But,
he's on tonight on TV, I think.
But why did not Bill Dundee go to Hollywood?
Because he was happy enough just being star in Memphis. I don't really know. I mean, I think about it now. I think, fuck, I should have went to Hollywood.
At least tried it.
Yeah, tried it. And I guess I was happy doing what I did. The desire to be an actor wasn't over what I was doing here. We're on TV every Saturday morning.
Well, you were a celebrity. I mean,
yeah, you was a celebrity.
TV shows. You're performing to.
There was women chasing you all over the place.
Yeah. So you kind of had that.
Right.
So why make the trip
to Hollywood and then you had all the other bad things about Hollywood. The guys, they do this and this, blah blah blah. Who knows? But I didn't go, and I wished I had have. You look back, that's the question you asked me. Not going to Hollywood is the thing that I should have done. Could have stayed 6 months. I had enough money to live 6 months, and never didn't make it. I didn't make it.
Just come right back.
Come right back and take over where you left off.
Yeah. You could have had a loser leave town.
Yeah. Loser leave Hollywood. You're not getting a job, you son of a bitch. But as I said to you, John Cena made it.
Yeah.
Well, a few movies.
Hulk Hogan made some shitty movies.
Hulk Hogan made some goofy movies, but he was Hulk Hogan.
He was.
And none of them was as cute as me.
No, true.
Not movie star cute.
Folks, we're going to wrap it up. I will say this. When I first approached Bill about this idea, and we were talking about the different wrestlers and kind of a skeleton in the closet type thing, and Bill brought up the fact that he's been around for so long, been around so many of them, that he could dig up, he knows a lot of dirt and where the bodies are buried, so to speak.
Right.
But he also declined to go that direction. So it says a lot about you, Bill.
Well, I appreciate that. See, if you're dead, you can't come back and dispute it.
True.
If you're just half dead, you can at least get out of the bed and hobble over and say, hey, don't do that, ain't fucking true.
Right.
Then we can debate it. But if you're not here to debate it, it's all hearsay, and it's really hearsay if I say it. Well, I know this about this guy, and he did this, and he did that, and he did that. How are they going to prove it?
Right.
So anything you say about me, or if you say anything about Ric Flair or whoever else, it's documented. And I just don't like to talk about people that ain't here to defend themselves.
Well, I respect you for that, Bill.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, Bill, I certainly appreciate you having me out here today. We're going to do this, try to do this once a week, upload a YouTube video. I thought a good title for it would be Bill Dundee Sets It Straight.
Right. That's good.
You like that?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, well, that's what we will use. Again, Bill, thank you for having us here. It's been great, and we will have this uploaded very, very soon, the very first inaugural.
So all you people quit watching, keep watching, and you'll...
No, quit watching.
No, not quit watching, keep watching, yeah. Go excited, said the wrong word.
All right,
So anyway, yeah, I enjoyed you coming over here, and we'll do this. And when you sit here and then fucking look around this wall, it's eerie. Now look at that foursome. Class of '55, Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, Carl Perkins, and what the hell's his name? Rich Mon, something Mon, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Don't get no better than that.
Not at all. Not at all. Got a great man cave here, Bill.
Yeah. And there's my lovely first wife, Jamie, and my mother. They're all here.
You should charge admission for
Over
the
there is the
museum.
passed away people. See that wall there on the bottom? Tojo and all them. They're all going on to heaven.
You got some great memorabilia here.
Well, yeah.
Well, one of these times during the interview, we'll just kind of pan around, show exactly what we're talking about. How's that?
Right. We can do all that.
Well, all right, Bill. Thanks again.
Thank you, man.